All right, welcome back. TJ Houshmandzadeh, 11 years in the NFL, a majority of those with the Cincinnati Bengals that are 0-2. There's 9 teams. We can put the slate up, our graphic up. It's funny about the 0-2 teams because there's 9, and I do think they sort of go in different levels. I think the Chargers, Bengals, because they have star quarterbacks, I feel like they're okay. I think the Patriots and Broncos, because they have great coaches and capable quarterbacks, there's a little bit of a heartbeat. Vikings have a pulse, not much of one. And then call the medics. Rookie quarterbacks are Justin Fields. And I want to go to Justin Fields. So he called out, sort of his coaches. And generally, there are things to say at the mic and things not to. You don't want to create fires on that Wednesday press conference. But they didn't run him. The first 2 games, they're not running him. And is it a cry for help? Is it a let me run?
Listen, I look at Lamar Jackson. His first 5 years in the league, the Baltimore Ravens were a run-first offense. Lamar, we're gonna construct this offense around what he does best, and that's run the ball. It just so happened his second year he led the league in touchdown passes and wins MVP. Finally, this year they say, you know what, we're going to change course. We're going to switch our offense, and now we're going to throw the ball more. But they gave him 5 years of doing it his way. It didn't work. They changed course now in his 6th season. Through 2 games, he's completing, I believe, 74% of his passes.
Second in the league.
Because he's comfortable now. The Chicago Bears do what Justin Fields does best. He can throw the ball, but run him. Let him get comfortable in this NFL style of offense and then switch it up when you feel he's comfortable. But it makes no sense when these coaches try to force a player to do what you want him to do instead of what he does best.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is a power-running quarterback with a pretty arm, throws a nice ball. But I don't want him running 10 times, but I want him running 6 and sliding. I think Philly has an identity crisis. I think they're really good. And they're kind of like, nobody plays anybody in the preseason. So September for O-lines and offenses, what are we? I don't think Philly knows yet. I think Pittsburgh's still trying to figure it out. Now, Kyle Shanahan and the Rams and McVay, those are brilliant offensive coaches. But I do think, it's funny. Nobody plays starters in the preseason.
They got to change that.
You're watching what I'm watching.
They're going to have to start just a series here and there. I mean, and as a player, I'm like, man, I wish I was playing and it was, when I played, first game, you're going to go a quarter, maybe a drive or 2. Second game, for sure, a quarter. Third game?
That was like almost a semi-real game.
The third game, we went the entire first half and probably 2 drives into the third quarter. Fourth game, you played a series. That's how it was for us.
I think I don't know what the exact number is. Justin Fields may have played 12 snaps in the preseason, or 11% of the game. I saw some number, and whatever it was like he played 11% of the snaps. Look that up, Ryan. I remember hearing, Dave Wannstedt told me this a couple days. I forget the number he gave me, but it was like, whoa. I think
safe
it was
passes.
Yeah.
Preseason, safe pass. Like, with a young quarterback, I'm going to come out and air it out. That's why I thought the Giants would be better this year, because watching the preseason, I like what Daniel Jones did and Brian Daboll on offense. They just came out, throw, went right down the field and scored in the preseason game. And I was like, wow, very impressive. I think that's what they should be doing with these younger quarterbacks. Preseason game, just come out and let it rip. Just throw the ball around the field.
It's interesting when I look at these quarterbacks come in. I mean, Bryce Young's got nothing to work with. They gave up DJ Moore to get Bryce Young. He's got nothing to work with. CJ Stroud, not a lot to work with. Anthony Richardson, something to work with. He's pretty interesting. Then there's Jordan Love, that's got a lot to work with. We're now in year 4 of him being in there. So I look at Jordan Love of the Packers, and my takeaway is, by Thanksgiving, as an organization, I want to make a call. The draft is packed with quarterbacks. Because people could say he's not starting. We wouldn't let a receiver sit for 3 years. And then if he's bad by Thanksgiving, go, I'm going to give him another year. If you sit for 3 years, and this is 2023 now, TJ, you know this. These kids have 10,000 snaps by the time they're 13. I'm not giving Jordan Love C.J. Stroud's timeline.
That's
last
fair.
weekend, I watched Jordan Love in crisis late, need to drive the ball. It didn't work. And to me, he's got a lot to work with. A good O-line, a good coach, a good run game. I'm making a decision by Thanksgiving on Jordan Love. Does that seem harsh?
No, that's fair, because when you sat for 3 years behind one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in Aaron Rodgers.
And one of the smartest, so you could learn from him.
You should have taken some things from him. Now, Christian Watson hasn't played. Romeo Doubs is a really good player. Tight ends, rookies, very young. You need to give him, I would say, 10 games this year. Can we be 7-3, 6-4? Can you show progress? Because
that's fair.
Ready as you think you may be, when those games start and that anticipation and that nervousness builds up, you got to take deep breaths and breathe to calm yourself down. There's nothing that can prepare you for it but the actual game reps. Go out there and relax and just play football. It's easy to say until that ball is kicked off and you got to run onto that field and you got to compose yourself and, all right, let me stay. He had never really been in a situation where you have to drive an NFL team down the field and get them in field goal range. That was his first time. So now let's see moving forward if things will be different, if he can slow himself down and not panic as much.
So in your NFL career, Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens, Raiders, Pittsburgh's got a situation now. I think it's all right, except the OC. They're chanting in the crowd. So if you look at the offensive rankings since Matt Canada's been there, 26th, 27th, 30th, 31st, they got weapons, tight end, receivers, backs, great defense. Look at their offensive ranks.
It's not working. And Tomlin knows it. He knows it. He knows it. He knows it.
Why won't he make a move?
He's not going to have a choice until after this year. I believe
Pittsburgh won't fire in season.
I believe he wanted Kenny Pickett to stay in the same offense. I didn't want to bring in, I'm speaking as Mike Tomlin, a new offensive coordinator, and now my second-year quarterback is in another system in his second year. Let's see another year in a system if that helps. Because he knows defensively they can slow team downs, and if need be, we can just run the ball, play defense, and hopefully our defense can keep us in the game. Like they did against the Cleveland Browns. It's not working. The way Matt Canada calls plays, and he may expect a certain defense, it just doesn't work.
So here's my thing. You can't fool players. You think those Steeler players know we got a coach ain't working?
100%. They talking about him in the locker room. 100%. Kenny Pickett is getting on the phone with whatever coach he trusts.
When he's driving home.
Yes, 100%. You'll never say it because when you start talking, and I had to learn this the hard way, you start talking about coaches, they hear about it, they going to call oh, man, TJ is not coachable, man. He thinks he knows everything. I'm just saying what I see. And there's good doctors. There's good show hosts. But there's also bad doctors and bad show hosts.
And bad pilots.
And you have to understand who's who. Like, every coach is not a good coach. My dad gave you a job, so now I'm going to give you a job.
There is some of that.
That's how it works. And not saying that Matt Canada's a bad coach, but it ain't working in Pittsburgh.
I had a bad doctor once. You ever have a bad doctor?
Yeah.
I had one.
But you didn't know it. You had to go through the experience. And you're like, wow, this dude is trash.
Yeah.
And so Matt Canada doesn't. Mike Tomlin knows it. He knows. And he's hoping that they can figure it out. But with that defense and all the money that they put into the defensive side of the ball, you would hope your offense can be complementary. You take that George Pickens long touchdown catch out of they had no yards on offense. You take that
first downs.
They had nothing. Deshaun Watson just gift wrapped them the game.
Yeah.
And so Tomlin knows it. I'd be very, very surprised if Canada's the head coach the offensive coordinator next year.
So the Deion Sanders effect is unbelievable. Most streamed game in ESPN history, most watched Saturday night game in ESPN history, I think it was. That's insane. Beating SEC games, big Ohio State games, Penn State games, whatever. So I look at it, and Joel Klatt brought this up. So if I'm Shedeur or Sanders, because Deion said, my son's not going pro, and I thought, I was like, nah, that's not. It's the best quarterback draft class I've ever seen. Bo Nix, Caleb, Drake May, Riley Leonard, Travis Jordan at Florida State. Like
Penix
is filthy.
Ooh, little lefty.
Okay. Shadur's number 1 pick the following year. He may be 3rd now, 4th now. NIL. Joel Klatt says, you don't think he can get a $5 million deal? Will NIL create opportunities, maybe only once or twice a year, for a college quarterback to say, I'm not playing for Arizona? Because there's only about 1 or 2 bad situations in the league annually. I'm not talking bad teams. There's over 7 or 8. But like 1 or 2 where you don't like the owner. We just got rid of the Phoenix Suns owner, the LA Clippers owner, the Washington owner. There are bad owners. Would you, if you had a son, say to him, listen, you can make $6.5 million in college, 9 in the pros, but you could be number 1 the following year, even if you're a top 10 pick? And I think Shadur would be a top 10 pick.
It's very possible, speaking just specifically Shadur, because Travis Hunter transferred to Colorado to play with you, Shadur. He can't leave this year. And when Prime says you're not leaving, I believe Travis Hunter is part of that reason. And a lot of guys will leave early because you're going to be the first pick, or you just financially, you need the money. Shadur doesn't need the money. You don't need the money. And
he's
now,
not going to be the number 1 pick.
And you're
Caleb.
not. And now that you can possibly be the number 1 pick, now your team's going to be better next year because the offensive line will be better. That defensive front will be better. That's where they're not competing with other teams when you start playing the Oregons and USCs, as we'll see moving forward. Skill guys, they're fine. It's the guys in the middle.
Right.
But if my son was coming out and he had an opportunity to be the first pick the following year, we'll just stay in college. Especially if I'm going to go to a situation that I don't believe is beneficial. Where you go
it's about
matters
90
a ton.
Outside of seriously, outside of an occasional Andrew Luck.
I mean,
and even
Joe Burrow, I was dead wrong on that. I'm like, if Carson couldn't change the Bengals, Joe couldn't. I was dead wrong. Joe changed it. But how many guys
about 1 every 5 years
are going to do that? And so you just don't take those chances when you don't have to.
NIL is going to I know everybody doesn't like change, but I really do believe there's a now, I think Caleb will go pro. But I think when Caleb Williams came out and said, I don't like this whole thing where I can't choose it, his dad echoed his sentiment. I think they were talking directly about Arizona.
But if you think about it with the Cardinals, they draft Caleb 1. They also have another first-round pick.
So they're going to get Harrison.
So now they get Marvin Harrison. Bing, you good to go.
Well,
so you got a top-flight receiver and a top-flight quarterback, and the Cardinals have not looked bad this season. Now, ownership can be what it is, but when you get those caliber players, you immediately have a chance.
All right. Let me throw this at you. It has been suggested Carson Wentz to the Jets. I would hold off on that one, although I do think he's the most talented quarterback that's not playing in the league.
He's been out here working, too.
What's that? Give me that. What's that?
He out here working.
With who?
Like, he out here working just for when an opportunity becomes available. It's
Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Have you worked with him?
I mean, I haven't worked with him. I see him on the field, and
how's he look?
He looks good. I mean, he gonna look good throwing the ball. Big dude, can run, can
how's
throw it.
How's his health?
Looks fine to me. Seems very fine to me.
J-Mac, maybe that suggestion by a popular host wasn't terrible.
Who's that popular host?
I'm not going to get into it.
He's not that popular, trust me.
Well, whatever. Okay, here's the point, though. I do agree. Today, Carson Wentz feels risky. I don't think he was loved in Indy. He wasn't loved at all in Philly. So I agree. You get blown out by Belichick, it's funny how the world changes. I'm not doing Kirk Cousins. Give me a break. That's not. You're not getting anywhere. I like Kirk, but Carson Wentz is 6'5.5", big dude.
If you bring Carson Wentz in, you're basically saying, Zach, you got to go. There's just no way.
You'd have to get him out of the building?
Zach is going to be upset about that. Now, he may show it. He may not. Who knows? But when Carson Wentz comes in, it's going to take him two weeks, learn the system. He's starting. You're not bringing him in to be the backup. You're bringing him in to start. And so if you bring him in, you're basically saying our season is almost over. So would you bring him in, or would you just say, let us see what Zach can do? Because
would you do Wentz or Kirk Cousins?
I would do Wentz because Kirk Cousins is going to cost something. I can't give up capital after I gave up capital for Aaron Rodgers.
What about that take? Do you buy that take?
TJ, they're all in. They have to be all in. No?
On what?
On going for it. Like, you're not paying Sauce Gardner. You're young guys. Garrett Wilson.
You go all in on Kirk Cousins. You're not winning the Super Bowl.
Why not? You got a great defense.
Come on.
Why not? Wait, TJ.
See, that's your Jet fandom kicking in right there.
No,
you're not like the Jets are really good, but Kirk Cousins comes in, they'll be better, but learning the system, people make like it's so easy. Kirk Cousins is going to be reciting Minnesota Vikings plays in his head when the Jet plays are
by
called.
The way, that's a great point. Whereas Carson Wentz isn't.
Yeah.
And so
it's like learning the language.
I would go, you got to go all in, but you also have to plan for the future. Well, Sauce Gardner isn't making a lot of money. Garrett Wilson isn't making a lot of money, but there's nobody out there right now that's going to get you to the Super Bowl. So it's not going to happen.
Kirk Cousins also, we saw him on the Netflix quarterback series, locked in, very nerdy, like hardcore.
That show made me love Kirk Cousins.
And remember, he's playing for another big contract after this. So he's putting all his work in to the Jets and the Nathaniel Hackett offense, whatever that is. Like, he will be locked in.
Is he not going to come in on a Tuesday? Because that's what he spends time with his family. You see the show. On a quarterback show, he did not come in on a Tuesday. You go to a new team, you're coming in on a Tuesday.
Well, Cowherd did tell me, Wednesdays I got to spend some time with my family. I can do it remote, the show maybe. Like, sometimes people make exceptions.
I would go Carson Wentz because what are you going to give up to get Kirk Cousins?
$10 million and probably a pick.
What, a third?
They already
You don't have a second? You don't have a second? I'm not giving up my first for sure.
I'll give up a third.
Well, then you won't have a second or a third.
Well, you got a first, and maybe you got a Super Bowl.
They have needs. First of all, they need a left tackle with their first pick, if they get it. They also need another receiver behind Garrett. They also need to draft a quarterback 4th, 5th, or 6th round.
It sucks for the Jets that what happened to Aaron Rodgers happened.
But that's their reality.
If Zach Wilson can't get it done,
you got to draft another quarterback.
2024 season, here we come.
It
sucks for the Jets because I really felt like with Aaron Rodgers it would be.
They have to draft a quarterback next year. Unless here. So Zach's done, and Aaron's 40 off an Achilles surgery.
Can we give Zach a chance against the Patriots? You're like, Zach's done. It's over. Kick him to the curb.
Zach needs to just play free, man. Trust your eyes.
Like Justin Fields, right?
Trust your eyes. If you're wrong, you're wrong. All right. Go back and watch what Bill has done. Trust your eyes, but more than anything, just throw the ball to Garrett Wilson. Like straight like that. That sounds crazy. Throw the ball to your best players and let's see what happens. If I'm going to go down, I'm going down with 17 trying to lead. If I'm Zach, if I see single high, I don't care where the read is. I'm going to 17. That's what I'm doing if I'm Zach Wilson.
I like how wide receivers think about offense.
I'm gonna make you look good.
I'm going to make you my OC.
I'm going to make you.
I just got to recruit good receivers.
It's never the plays. It's always the players.
Well, the plays matter a little.
I'm talking when the play starts. In doubt, go to the guy. Look at the one-hand catch against Buffalo. Look at the one. He made a play that was very improbable.
How about, by the way, Olave for the Saints? You see that catch up the sideline?
Yes.
What the hell was that?
I mean, Ohio State.
Some of these young receivers, Garrett Wilson, Olave, are insane. They're doing one-hand stuff like the OBJ stuff is what they do in warm-ups now.
They practice it now. You practice when I was playing catching the ball with one hand and you don't catch it. Oh my God, coach might make the whole team run gassers.
Really?
Now
did you ever try it?
We never tried it, but you could just get one hand on the ball, catch it with two, and I'm like, if I could, I would. Like I'm reaching with one because this is my only option.
We got to take a break. This guy brings the heat. This is you always bring it.
I just have fun.
Listen, you do reps full speed. Some of these guys come in here, they're just jogging to their route. This guy does the whole route tree. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.